And a very good evening or other time appropriate greeting to you folks here on Speed Gaming 3. Welcome to the A Link to the Past Randomizer Daily Race. It is Wednesday, so it is time for our nighttime 11 p.m. Eastern Time race. We have a good one for you tonight, folks. All dungeons and early start with boots. I'm Captain MD13. I'm joined by Jeff Deriff. How you doing tonight?
I am doing wonderful. I am looking forward to this all dungeons boot start seed. I can't wait to see what chaotic craziness is about to go down. And let's give a big shout out to our trackers this evening, Professor Pixie and Jinxie Girl.
Absolutely. They will be put to work quite handily since we have all dungeons, so we are going to need pretty much everything you see on that screen, with a few exceptions depending on how things go, but most of the stuff is going to end up having to get tracked.
Indeed it is. And the only major question we will have tonight is, will it be a PED seed?
Will it be a PED seed, or will it be a progression in GT seed?
Ooh, that could be. Only time will tell. We just got to get these runners underway, so...
Now, is it still 7 crystals to enter GT in this setting?
I do believe with this current setting, all Dungeons Boot starts, it is a 7-7, and it looks like it's an open start. As we're getting underway, we get a half a heart in Link's house, and I did not see what was in the Sanctuary.
Just a key. Hopefully one of our runners will give us a early map check so we can see our light world. Yes, we do. It looks like it is a Pendant Desert, Red Crystal Hera, Blue Crystal Eastern.
Indeed it is, and we are going to get our look at the tree pool here in just a hot second, while Edium is doing the Bonk Rocks over by the Sanctuary.
And the Bonk Rocks is just one of the 2 green rupees of glory. But the Tier 1 tree pull, respectable 20 rupee pull, so that's not a bad Tier 1 tree pull if you need rupees in a hurry for Zora or otherwise.
Exactly, as Uncle drops us another piece of heart, and his treasure chest gives us a full heart.
A lot of love to start off this seed here as we go through our first few checks.
Indeed it is, and the crab pull is just some more red rupees.
Very bountiful start here from our random drops as we kick things off here. A-Team's going to give us our first look at Lumberjack Ledge early, which is a Bamos Medallion. That brings a lot more questions than it does answers.
Indeed it does. That could be 1/3 of the potential choices for either entry into Mire or Turtle Rock. We will see if that will be necessary.
Or worse yet, if we have a Fire Rod and Ice Palace scenario.
That would be fun.
So yeah, that could be a key into 3 dungeons, if need be. Looks like the secondary prize from the bush crabs was the blue rupee, so yeah, everything is coming up rupees here, and just in time for the Kakariko dive, some free bombs in the Lost Woods.
Yep, so we get our package of earth-shattering kabooms.
Well, the earth-shattering's the Quake Medallion, to be fair.
Fair enough, I'll give you that one.
I do remember that clip where somebody said nothing earth-shatteringly important, it immediately was followed by Quake. Commentator's blessing / curse, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like we got another pull. I believe that was the Tier 3, which was full magic.
Indeed it was. I do believe that was Edium that pulled that, so he'll be good to go if he gets a magic item, as he looks like he's going into Blind's hut. So we'll see what's down here.
Well, looks like it's moderate money, small love, and small love. So that's 4 heart pieces already out on the field.
That is a lot of love and a lot of change.
That seems to be all we're getting so far as we start things off here. We've not found a single trackable item yet.
Well, hopefully that might change once we get deeper into Kakariko Village here. We're just starting to dive into it really from Edium. Joss Bleeding is now headed his way down there, as we're now going to get a look inside the well.
Yeah, those early bombs making this check nice and good. There's one of our 4 jackpot 300 drops.
That makes Zora a little bit easier.
In fact, Edium's money scenario is pretty much good for all remaining checks in the game, but we get a glove
And we get our first trackable item, the Power Glove.
Hey, ready to put that Zora money to work?
Yeah, let's see how expensive the item's going to be this time. As we spend money to make money.
We
Or
get
in
a
this
rebate.
case, spend money to lose money. As we see what the chickens are hiding from us today. As Eddie makes sure to rescue the one chicken hiding under the pot there as we pull the moon pearl from the chicken hut. Nice.
That's an interesting egg for those chickens to lay.
A very valuable egg indeed.
All right, so we got a glove and a moon pearl already. We are just a mitts or hammer away from Dark World access.
And the back of the tavern is offering up a refund as it only gave us a red rupee.
And with those 3 bombs from the Lost Woods wearing down, E-Team's just going to buy another package and be good for the rest of the next little while.
And he's not worried about that little change spending it because he's still got plenty left over.
Pretty much all of our runners are going to be in the same scenario, but that is a bow on the library.
Indeed it is. That is very useful as Synapse actually got his glove just a moment ago. So all the runners are pretty much in sync right now, so we haven't had a major divergent point yet as Edium is headed over to the race game. And it is the magic lamp, so he is definitely going to be going back for that. So we'll be saying rep dark rooms here in just a hot second.
Yeah, it's always nice to get that out of the way before you have to dive a dark room, so that makes Eastern Palace full clearable as well as gives us access to the western lower edge of Death Mountain. So a few options have been put on the table, so we may see some splitting here in a few moments.
Yep, that ever-popular divergence point. I feel it would be coming pretty soon.
Luckily, so far all we've seen is a lamp, so it's only one of the 3 keys of the AGA 1 puzzle, which may not really matter depending on how that Bamos Medallion plays out. Actually, we have to go do AGA 1 anyway because it's all dungeon, so it really doesn't matter.
Indeed. And us having the glove, and now with the magic lamp, it makes that Death Mountain climb a little bit easier to do that escort mission for that old man.
Death Mountain, and furthermore, we can also completely clear out the front and back of Hyrule Castle escape.
Speaking of, Edium is thinking along right with you as he's headed into back escape right now.
Makes sense. This is where the density lies, and with the key, we can just go ahead and dip right down to Dark Cross.
Indeed we can, as we get some more bombs, a 10-pack of arrows, and the Titan's Mitt. So we have all of the glove accessories.
6.5 minute Dark Death Mountain, anybody? Actually, we still need a hook shot or a hammer, so...
So not quite. And he is making that play to Dark Cross, as we did suspect, so... And furthermore, I do suspect he will just go ahead full clear this Hyrule Castle. I expect him to do front half of escape shortly after this.
Yeah, if he finds the map here, that'll make the front of Castle Dive much easier because it'll be all items down there. And as I've already seen the key. Nice placement of that arrow, bit heads up there.
Right, and I do believe Hyrule Castle is the only one in the game that does not have a compass.
Yes. That is the only dungeon, yes, only Hyrule Castle. And I think Castle Tower does not have a compass either.
That could be. And Edium opts not to go for the front half of escape unless he's going to take a different route here.
I think he's just making a pit stop at King's Tomb courtesy of those mitts.
Fair enough. We'll see what the King Tomb is hiding.
Because the last thing you want to do is immediately get access to King's Tomb, leave it behind, and the next thing you know, your fire rod's parked there, or something important.
Exactly, as Edium just pulls another set of bombs from King's Tomb, while Sean Rhapsody is doing our pendant check at Sashrala. I did not catch where that was, but we are getting
that would be Misery Meyer. That would be Misery Meyer as our green pendant.
And Sashrala not really hiding anything in the back of his closet today. The only useful piece of information was that Meyer has the green pendant. So we'll be seeing our Eastern Palace dip here in just a hot second as Josh Bleeding takes a dip into South Shore with Mini Moldorm Cave.
Yeah, we've got a lot of splitting going on now. Everybody is everywhere else. As we got Sean going to Eastern, Sinum's doing Castle, E-Team doing the Mountain, and Josh doing South Shore. So yeah, everybody is everywhere.
As Josh pulls a piece of heart, our first bottle, a 50-pack of rupees, another
Bees?
piece of heart, and a 10-pack of arrows. So it's time to release that bee. But that also puts Sick Kid in play for Kakariko, so they'll be probably routing that in pretty soon.
First chest of Eastern gives us a early big key. Not that it really matters since we have the lamp and bow to just clear the whole place out anyway. And I did not see what was on the old man, unfortunately.
Neither did I.
And I did not load up my mobile playback, which has extra delay, because I really should do that.
Spec Rock has a set of bombs, and inside has a green rupee.
The other green rupee.
Josh Bleeding taking his dip into Ice Rod Cave, so we'll get that there. Sean pulling another rupee out of the one chest in Eastern. He's going to be making his way over to that Stalfos room. Let's see if he pulls this off correctly.
Alright, Josh has returned to Link's house. This might be a front of castle check, but nope, it looks like it is an Eastern check.
And Sean does perfectly pull off the Stalfos room, pulls a map from the chest afterwards, so we'll see what's inside that big chest here in just a moment, folks.
I think both Josh and Edium forgot they didn't have flippers yet. Or no, they checked they wanted to check Hylia Island, which was money.
Okay, the big chest in Eastern, just some more rupees. This is a very fruitful adventure if you're looking for income today.
Yeah, we're great on cash, but right now, pretty much the game is just screaming, hey, go to Village of Outcasts.
Yeah, I feel that's where our play's gonna be.
You know, go to Village of Outcasts, or... No, yeah, that's really just about it. Go to Village of Outcasts. Because we've seen now 2 items in Eastern. There's only one still on the table here. It does make sense to full clear Eastern anyway. It's a crystal. You got to do it anyway. It's all dungeons, so...
So yeah, all dungeons are required. And the Anti-Fairy room only gives us the compass.
So our last item is on the Armos Knights themselves. No big deal. We got a bow. We got plenty of ways to get ammo.
The only big question is on the Armos Knights is that item useful? Because so far we have not seen very much useful items, but that might change.
It is quite interesting, as Chad points out, that with Moon Pearl in tow as well, no runner has elected to fake Flipper to Zora, because with Moon Pearl in tow, they can add Waterfall Fairy into the list of out-of-logic checks that they could pull off with those fake flippers.
Not to mention the hobo.
That as well. And I do believe if bombs and bow are enough, I don't know if bombs and bow are enough to create the, to perform the Ancilla splash deletion for Zora Ledge, unfortunately.
Rhapsody there having a little trouble in that one room there with the red arrow thingy. Those little... I don't know what the freak to call them. They're the...
Yeah, I'm not sure what they're called either, honestly.
But Rhapsody is going for his quick Armos Knights kill, so we're seeing how well he pulls this off, and he pulls it off perfectly. And again, another useless item, as it's another 3-pack of bombs.
So Sean will draw first blood here tonight as we kick off this seed.
First crystal at 12 minutes, 50 seconds.
Yeah, so it's been I wouldn't say a great start, but at least it's busy. There's stuff to do. It's not like everyone's getting, well, I say not everyone's not getting funneled, but there's really only 2 checks we have left right now, and that is Zora, actually 3, Zora, Agina, and Western Dark World.
And I have not seen nobody do the front half of Escape yet either.
That is true. 2 items are still housed in the basement of Hyrule Castle.
Meanwhile, Sean Rhapsody going to do his back half of Escape.
So So we only have knowledge of 2 of our pendants, which begs the question where the third one is. If the third pendant is Turtle Rock, we may have a very interesting scenario on our hands where Kane of Samaria might be in GT, assuming Ice isn't Samaria locked by logic.
Very true.
But we can start putting our pedestal GT progression shopping list together once we get our Dark World map check, which should be sooner rather than later, considering we've had Mitts in tow for the last 8 minutes or so.
That sounds about right. And Rhapsody now going toward Dark Cross here, while everybody else is working on Eastern.
Yeah, Sean might be the first one to give us new information, but on the flip side, he has not yet picked up his Titan's mitts.
Now, so far, the only 2 runners to do that are Edium and Synapse. Synapse now doing his Armos Knights fight as Rhapsody is going into King's Tomb here, so he'll be getting his Titan's mitts here in a second, as Synapse also perfectly executes the Armos Knights fight, and Edium is doing the same thing, has a little flub there, but I'm sure he's going to recover nicely here in just a second.
I don't think the mitts weren't in King's Tomb. They were in, oh geez, where were they again? It was in a really easy, really semi-stupid location.
All right. For you viewers out there, please bear with us as far as the tracking. I just got word from Professor Pixie that we did lose the tracker page. So hopefully we get that technical issue resolved here fairly shortly.
Yeah, Joss is having a little more trouble with Armos Knights. They managed to get into line formation here, as they say in football.
He completely whiffed on that one shot, but he finally recovered from it. And the chess game only gives us 10 arrows as the item.
Actually, chat brings up a good point. Sean had to have had mitts, otherwise he couldn't do King's Tomb. Whoopsie!
And I think he realized that after he got there.
Alright, so yeah, Sean is our first into Village of Outcast. Chess game didn't look like it was anything too crazy, but C-shaped house was arrows.
I believe it was also arrows in the treasure chest game as well. So we're going to get our bombable hut here in a second.
Back of the brewery giving us a...
And we have the Quake Medallion.
Oh, that'll shatter the earth a little bit. As
yes,
we had alluded to earlier.
Indeed, as Rhapsody is now looking toward Shovel Game. And Josh Bleeding going up Deathbout to rescue the old man. And Edium is doing his Ice Rod check, while Synapse is doing Mini Moldorm.
Shovel Knight 1994.
So again, Rhapsody... Yep, and Edium is... Rhapsody's still the only one giving us new information at this point.
I like chat's joke there, a groundbreaking discovery.
And the Shovel Game gives us another piece of love.
I'm pretty sure that's vanilla.
Yeah, I think you might be right on that, so we'll add that to the Is This Thing On column. Meanwhile, Edium is doing the Water Walk state, so we're going to get our hobo check, so that's a new piece of information.
Yeah, we'll start to see what in this neck of the woods maybe Flipper's locked tonight.
And the hobo is just giving up some of his cash.
Ooh.
Stumpy gives us the Ether Medallion.
So medallions.
So we got 2/3 of the medallions, but we also know where the third one is. The Bamos Medallion is on not bumper ledge, but
Lumberjack ledge.
lumberjack ledge. I knew it was a ledge there somewhere.
So yeah, so medallions are out of the question for question marks tonight. We're really just looking for... Oh, we're getting our Dark World map check. Our missing pendant is on Skull Woods, and our other 5/6 crystal is Ice Palace.
So that does open the door for quite a few ped seed possibilities.
It does, but unfortunately, and
Waterfall
actually,
Cave has arrows and money and green potion today.
wait, are we playing A Link to the Past Randomizer or SMZ3?
Good question.
And for those who don't know, in SMZ3, bottles refills from fairies are defaulted to... Oh, that's Fire Rod.
And that is the fire rod on Zora's ledge. And let's see what expensive item Zora is hiding from us today.
A reminder to the folks at home, we had access to this since we had Glove, which was 15 minutes ago, and it was just the Bloomerang. Would you call that a scam?
A very expensive Bloomerang.
Would you call that a scam? I don't think so. We don't have a stun price check item yet.
I still rate that on my weird scamometer a 3. And we're going to get the Dwarven check here in just a second from Shad Rhapsody.
Yeah.
And Josh Bladen is taking the front half of Escape, so the Dwarves give up a little bit of money for their rescue, and Josh Bladen also going to give us new information and what's hiding in the basement of Hyrule Castle.
All right, now we're getting somewhere. Now with Fire Rod, now we're flippers locked out of that Fire Rod, obviously. So now we know where. Now we got that item in the chain sorted out. I'm trying to think what our pedestal scenario could be at this point. So Skullwoods Desert and Mire are our pendants. So yeah, a few things could be on pedestal. Ice Rod is the obvious one. Flippers could be up there. Because you don't need fire. Oh no, flippers can't be up there because you need that for you need those for Fire Rod, and Skullwoods is Fire Rod locked. But yeah, a couple things. Ice Rod, Mirror could be up there. Hookshot could be up there. Yeah, because you don't need Hookshot for Mire since we have boots.
Indeed, as Sean Rhapsody is grabbing the purple chest to take back to the grumpy old man. I'm not sure what his official name is, but I call him Grumpy.
I think we call him Gary.
Grumpy Gary, I like it.
Now, I didn't catch what the first item in the front of Hyrule Castle was. The second one was the map, so this check in Zelda Cell will be an item.
And it's just a 10-pack of arrows, and I missed what the Grumpy Gary gave us. I think it might have been more rupees.
I can check on my playback for you, but I did see that Signum's check Sick Kid for more bees. And it looks like... Oh, the first item in the Hyrule Castle was the red boomerang, and the purple chest just had some money. 5 rupees.
Okay. Now, looks like Josh Bleeding is doing that King's Tomb check. And with the Waterwalk State, Eddie M is going to be doing Zora's Ledge, so he will be getting that Fire Rod.
Ooh, very nicely done. That didn't take any time at all for him.
Mind you again that Fire Rod acquisition is out of logic, as we do not have the flippers. And we have our first dip into Skull Woods by signups. That first chest will be a small key.
Yeah, unfortunately for signups, this is going to be a double dip, since he's not going to be coming here with that out of logic Fire Rod. ETM, on the other hand, is just going to be able to clear this out and then do Village of Outcasts. So ETM is actually going to be able to route this in pretty efficiently.
Indeed. And Eddie M is going up to Sick Kid because I do believe he has a bottle. We are still having problems with our tracker. I do not believe we have sorted that out yet, so just bear with us a few more moments, folks. We should be getting that back up soon.
Now, I did see the first item in Skullwoods was money, so we've got one item in Skullwoods. Pinball Chest has a key. Now, that no longer is necessarily forced a key in version 31. Now the game assumes you can save and quit.
Right, and he actually now has a total of, well, he picked up another key there. The thing saying he has one, but I do believe he used it.
Yes.
But he did pick up 2 keys, and like you said, the other chest was just money.
So there is still one item in play here, but it looks like Sinem's just wanted a quick bomb refill.
Meanwhile, Rhapsody is doing his ice rod check, and Josh Bleeding checking his Village of Outcasts, as well as Edium, so we're starting to resync up here just slightly.
Ooh, that is magic powder in the big chest of Skullwood. So that is all of our Skullwoods items for one thing. For another, it does open up magic bat. Actually, no, it doesn't, because we need hammer or mirror. So still looking for stuff for that one.
Indeed we are. As Josh Bleeding out doing the shovel game. Edium checking the C-shaped house. Sean Rhapsody looks like he's going straight up to Zora's domain and doing what he can there. Edium dipping into Thieves' Town, so we'll get our look at the first 4 here. He'll probably just go ahead and clear it, as it is required.
I'm pretty sure this is where our next progression is at this point, because we've checked virtually everywhere else, and we really can't do that much besides dip pod. With our... Actually, no, we can't even dip pod, because we don't have hookshot or flippers to get to the other side of the Dark World. So, yeah, forget that idea.
Mm-hmm. And the first 2 chests in Thieves' Town, not very much use. I do believe one was the map. Might have been the compass, not sure, but the other one was, I think, just money.
I think it was a compass and a heart container.
Oh.
Which we are now starting to... the seed is quite literally coming to life now for our runners. We're starting to see 9 hearts. There's our big key up in the front, as it should be.
And the final chest of the first 4 is the hook shot.
There you go, folks. When the seed screams at you to go to Thieves' Town, you go to Thieves' Town.
The only dungeon in the entire game that has a scripted fight. Aside from Aga and Aga 2, of course.
Indeed. Now, with that hook shot, we now have East and Dark Death Mountain in play, so that opens up a huge number of checks for our runners, because they're all being funneled into Thieves' Town right now. So Joss is about to get that hook shot. Synums is about a minute behind. Sean shouldn't be too much longer getting over there. And that hook shot, I think actually gives us a... Does that give us a way to the Western Dark World? I think it does, actually. Not Western, excuse me, Eastern. I always get, because I don't see it the scenario too often, I always get confused what allows West to East Dark World and vice versa.
Not sure what was up with Josh Bleeding, but he took a death warp and he's leaving Thieves' Town.
And that was intentional. E-Team did the same thing. Usually runners, if they don't have the hammer, will check the first 4, try and come back with the hammer so they can check big chest in one fell swoop.
Get the chest and a blind all in one go.
Yeah, ideally the hammer's not going to just be chilling in here like on the blind cell chest, but yeah, everybody's following the same pattern here, just taking that death warp, getting out, and not having to worry about it until later.
Indeed, and Sean Rhapsody now dipping into, I think, is this a re-dip for him?
No, for Sean, this is the first dip into Skullwoods.
That's what I was thinking. I couldn't remember if he dipped yet or not. Meanwhile, Josh Bleeding looks like he's going... he's going somewhere. Might be checking Hype Cave.
Yeah, that's where he's going.
Because we can't get into Swamp just yet. We don't have the flippers or the mirror.
Yeah, we're missing a lot of items for a few dungeons.
So, as we're entering the not-so-hype cave, we'll see what we get here. And we get a red rupee, 300 rupees, a piece of love, 300 rupees, and another piece of love.
Cash cave.
It is a cash cave.
Yeah, that's the loose translation. But yeah, with that hookshot, yeah, everybody is gonna probably now routing east at. That was a very interesting bomb jump. bonk buffer there. Very nicely done by Sean.
Yes, it was. And with the hook shot, Josh Bleeding is headed over to Paradox Cave.
Yeah, unfortunately, we still do not have access to Tower of Hera. We are looking for either the hammer or the mirror, both of which could very easily just be, I would say chillin', but this is the volcano mountain, so it could be toasting in here.
Yeah, we could have a roasted hammer or mirror, so we'll see what's coming up here in just a hot second. As he's the only one giving us new information at this point, and we get 50 rupees and the red rupee. So
nice.
Another cash cave.
Nice thing about the heat is it does temper the glass a little bit.
That it does. Can always use a piece of volcanic glass.
Alright, now I think Sean took an unintentional death in the overworld.
And we get the flippers and mirror in Paradox Cave. Alongside some cash and some more bombs. Wow, things are really heating up here, folks.
I call that the Swamp Palace care package right there. We now have access to... That also puts our fire rod back into logic, so we now have... Ooh, we've got Ice Palace access too, because we've got fire rod, access to fire rod, we've got hook shot, we've got Titans. We can pretty much go all the way in ice.
Uh-huh. And we do have that Tower of Hera play, as the floating island only has a red rupee. And now for Spiral Cave.
I do believe that mirror also now puts Pyramid Fairy into logic, as Ice Palace is our other 5/6 crystal. Oh, right, we also need Hammer for Ice Palace anyway, so never mind. Well, we needed to get to Cold Stare. We don't need it to get the other chests.
Indeed.
So, Hammer and Ice Palace is still very much on the table right now. Never mind.
And speaking of the hammer, we have it.
Wow, that is one of the most stacked East Death Mountains we've gotten out there. So now that makes Pod full clearable, that makes Swamp full clearable, Thieves Town full clearable. Mire, we're still looking for Flute.
And it looks like we are going to get our look at the medallion requirement for Turtle Rock.
Yeah, our runners are going to start by checking Super Bunny and Hookshot caves here.
Indeed, they are.
But yeah, Death Mountain was the play. Granted, again, our runners were kind of funneled into that, given that the seed was essentially saying, go to Thieves Town, then go to Death Mountain.
Yeah, sometimes it's the way the cookie crumbles. Josh Bleeding have to go upstairs and then take the drop down because he flubbed up the tiles there. And in Super Bunny we go, we pull a 10-pack of arrows and more money.
That would be the last 300 rupee drop of the seed, so we now have seen all 4 of our 300 drops.
A very lucrative seed.
Yeah, our runners are, I mean, just look at Josh's rupee. No, Sean's got, I can't tell if that's a 0 or an 8. I think that's an 8, so that's 1,800 rupees.
For Josh Bleeding, that's actually 1,657 for him.
Oh, is it a 0 on Sean's screen? Oh, did I say Josh? I meant Sean. Sorry.
Actually, yeah, that's about 1,000 rupees for him now. As we get more rupees from Josh and Hookshot Cave, some more bombs, and the Red Cape.
Ooh, right in time for Spike Cave, no less.
Indeed.
So very convenient indeed. I don't recall if any of our runners actually checked it. Did you see anybody check the Turtle Rock Medallion?
No, nobody has checked the Turtle Rock Medallion. And Josh Bleeding is going straight to Tower of Hera, as is Edium.
I think they're probably waiting on... Actually, they can't open the door anyway because they don't have a sword, as Chad points out, number 1. Number 2, it doesn't really matter since we know where all the medallions are, number 1. Number 2, we still can't get it because we're missing a sword. Because quite literally, that's the last piece of the Aga puzzle right now. But Chad is saying that Edium checked it and it was Quake. And whatever Sean saw on the pyramid there was not important.
Indeed it was. And Josh and Edium pick up the big key. Edium is leaving Tower of Hera, maybe to go do... I'm not sure what his play here is, but Josh Bleeding is doing the Tower of Hera climb.
Yeah, he only picked up, there was one item picked up so far, which was the heart
now I
container.
see the play here. Spike Cave is the play for Edium. And I believe we are getting our tracker back as I'm starting to see icons light up. So the trackers are catching us up on what the runners have. So the viewers will be able to know what we're dealing with here.
Sean is taking Kiki the monkey over to Pod. Unfortunately, we know the hammer's not back here, so Sean will not be able to full clear this dungeon in one go. Joss is getting bullied here by those hard hat beetles.
Yeah, that was very tough to watch there. And like you said, this is going to be an unfortunate double dip for Rhapsody in Pod as he does not have the items required to full clear it.
Yeah, so it looks like everybody else, meanwhile, has picked up their hammers. Joss takes that death, unfortunately, and does not have a fairy, so that is back to the basement we go.
Indeed, as Rhapsody picks up a small key in that first chest after bouncing off of the wall.
So I guess Eden forgot to pick up the hammer in Spiral Cave, so he picked it up first and then went back for Hera.
Ah, sounds good there. And Josh Bleeding also making this
That's actually an interesting thing, because, yeah, without the hammer, Edium actually couldn't clear Hera, because we don't have any other valid anti-Moldorm weapons.
This is true, and using the hammer, it does do tempered level damage, so Moldorm will go down in 3 hits.
We see our second item in Tower of Hera in the in front of the big chest, and it is a compass, or a heart piece, rather. Sorry. And admittedly, I've been neglecting Sean's pod dive. I haven't seen what's been picked up in that neck of the woods.
Unfortunately, not very much, so it's not being very lucrative for him right now. As Josh
like
Bleeding is taking on Moldorm right now, and as soon as he drops in for the fight, he gets knocked right off the ledge.
Looks
very
like it's
unfortunate. He didn't even get a chance to hit.
Yeah, Moldorm 1, runner 0 already. But
as
Sean
Synapse is doing his hookshot cave check.
Looks like it's all key so far. Pod was I think it was a key in the first chest, so Pod is not bow locked.
Edium having a better go at Moldorm than Josh Bleeding, but they take both of them take him out simultaneously. And it's just the map, so there is definitely something in that big chest.
No, there isn't. There was a heart container in the pantry and the heart piece on the second floor, or third floor rather, so they have seen both items.
Oh, okay, I did miss that, unfortunately, so yeah, they're not going to go back for that.
No, they're done with this dungeon.
Sean Rhapsody does pull the big key for Pod. Not sure how much help that's going to be for him right now without having those, without having that hammer.
Well, he is going to be able to clear out the entire rest of the dungeon, though, courtesy of the lamp So, alright, we're getting our first Spike Cave check now by Etium. Taking advantage of that cape, although actually I think Joss may have already checked this.
He may have, but I did miss it looking at another runner, and it was just a piece of love.
Yeah, I'm sure Etium's very happy to take the save and quit refill at this point, because, yeah, went into that with only 1 heart, and Joss's Hera dive was definitely marred by some low health shenanigans as well. Synapse doesn't look like to be having that problem, though, for the time being. But yes, now many options have opened up on the table. We can full clear swamp, we can do everything except cold stare, including cold stare and ice.
And Edium is looking like he's making his play to swap Palace. Meanwhile, Sean Rhapsody pulls off the hammer yum for only a single arrow of destiny.
It is a unique item, to be fair.
Another piece of love.
Joss, meanwhile, has elected to return to Thieves' Town and finish clearing out the dungeon, courtesy of that Spiral Cave hammer. Get this out of the table now makes a lot of sense. I wouldn't be surprised to see Ice Palace dip sooner rather than later, but I bet you runners are waiting on Kane so they can Ice Break.
Indeed, because that Ice Break will save them a lot of time. Meanwhile, Synapse taking on his mini Moldorm. Moldorm, rather. But he takes it out rather nicely.
Yeah, and E-Team is actually deciding to change course and route into pod really quick, which is fair. I mean, again, you got to do this anyway, so it doesn't hurt.
And since he doesn't have the hammer, I don't think he's really worried about dipping pod.
Yeah, no, this is a full clearable dungeon to him. Just looking back at the playback to see if Sean found anything good in pod at all, and it looks like the map and the compass were both in the dark basement.
Indeed they were. And just more bombs in that bombable room there for Thieves Town.
So that's our third Thieves Town item at this point, so there's only one item left. It can either be in the big chest, on blind, or in the cell. We have not seen the small key, which means it may very well be locked in the big chest, and our runners may have not had to worry about being hammerless in the first place.
Well, that could very well be. I have seen that happen as that little chest there, and Eddie, he pulls a shield. I'm not sure if Rhapsody picked that up earlier, but I did miss seeing it.
Yeah, he picked it up. Yeah, right now
he also picks up the red ring from Front of Escape.
Yeah, I'll need to double check Sean's pause menu to see if he's picked up Hookshot yet, because if not, it needs to get to Thieves Town sooner rather than later. Alright, there's the small key in the maiden cell, so I do believe 50-50 chance of an item in the big chest.
Yep, so we'll be most likely checking that chest before we hit the boss.
Yeah, our runners, it should be noted, we are now 40 minutes in. We've got so much on our plate here, and we have not seen a sword.
That's scary.
Very scary. We only need...
Not much help in the chest, so I do believe the last item that Blind is hiding is just a dungeon item.
Yeah, it's, I think it's the compass, because, yeah, I think we saw the map already. It's the map or compass. Either way, not important. So, Josh is going to, hopefully, follow the blind script here. It's going to be kind of tough to do with the hammer, to be fair. So,
Indeed it will take 3 hits per phase to knock out Blind. And that is regardless of damage.
Yeah, and already you can see Josh is falling off script here. So yeah, this is gonna get hectic very fast. Josh is actually down to 1 HP, so gets sniped by the side.
And he takes a death. Should have used that cape a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised he didn't pop it a bit more often, but it looks like he's going to come back once he's got a better weapon. Can burner or a sword would be nice right about now.
Indeed it would.
We also still do not have access to Desert Palace. We need either a book or the flute, so we're still missing Mire access. We could at least open Turtle Rock's front door, but we really can't do much else until we get Kane.
It is true, as Josh Bleeding does pick up the dwarf. I believe he's going to be doing his hammer pegs as well. I believe this will be our first look at hammer pegs, as he's having a problem getting that item dash to work.
Well, the item dash won't actually work if you don't have a sword.
And I think he just realized that off about the 5th attempt of trying it.
Which is weird, because when he hammer dashed, you saw he had the sword in his hand.
I think that is just a graphical glitch based on our coding.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be swordless before you have the Pegasus boots. And there's the Master
we have a
Shovel.
So that's a fetch quest there. That'll give us Grove access.
Maybe this Master Sword got buried. You gotta dig it up. Even dirtier than it was in Breath of the Wild.
That was dirty. Meanwhile, Synops is doing his pod. He's running through it fairly nicely. I believe he's in pod, I think. Yes, he's in pod.
Yeah,
Rhapsody also doing Thieves Town here, while Josh
Yeah.
Bleeding is picking up his purple chest.
All right, so now
And Eddie, it
Sean.
looks like he's just going straight to the boss right here. He's like, I've had enough of this dungeon. I'm ready to be done.
Yeah, let's just get that out of the way right now. Sean had a little trouble in Thieves Town, was trying to go for the back, but it saved and quit, but did pick up the hook shot, I think, as a result. So, if his next stop isn't Dark Death Mountain, Dark/East Death Mountain, I don't know what will be. Because I'm pretty sure he's now being fully railroaded into that, and he's going to end up last locationing his Swamp Palace care package. But yeah, right now, while no runner is has a clear super advantage, just in terms of what's been done, ETM's just a tiny bit ahead. Just because he's got 2 boss clears, he's about to wrap up Pod right now. I don't think Helmasaur is going to give him that much trouble. Watch me eat my words in about 20 seconds.
Right. Commentator's curse there. 17 hits on the mask for Helmasaur King, and that mask will fall off. And then we'll be able to spam him with arrows or the like and knock him out.
Yeah, he's taken a couple of hits. He's down to 4 hearts, so he can take 1 more hit, but it's down to phase 2. Just go machine gun with the bow, and that's going to be... Ooh, Helmasaur getting a little dodgy.
1 more hit, and he will die if he does not get this. Luckily, he did get that last hit in. He's just got to stay away from those spikes while he's trying to collect that crystal.
Now, what you're seeing Joss do here is...
Helmasaur King is our first sword for Edium.
Oh my. So what you just saw Joss do there, you may have noticed that he actually didn't have the purple chest with him when he mirrored. I like to call this the phantom chest glitch. Turns out you can mirror, if you leave the chest at a specific spot, you can essentially mirror in front of Gary over there, and, ooh, Sinims didn't get the big key. That's a minor oof there. Because, yeah, big key's vanilla today. You can mirror in front of Gary if you leave the chest at the right spot, and the game still considers you having the chest following you while you're in your invincibility frames, so you can turn in the chest effectively without having it behind you.
And it's definitely one strange glitch, but hey, it works.
It was only semi-recently discovered, too, like about a year ago. It's actually borderline phenomenal that we're still finding... Oh, he just needs to be on screen when you mirror? Okay, fair enough.
And Edium is going up to dip into Skull Woods.
Yeah, he's put this off for a while, and now that actually, I just realized we actually couldn't have completed Skull Woods without just Fire Rod because we couldn't cut the vines without a sword. So yeah, now we can finally do stuff. We can actually go pick up that Bamos Medallion while we're at it after we clear Castle Tower later down the road.
Exactly, yes. A lot of people may not be familiar with, but that curtain in Skull Woods, it is sword locked. So for the longest time, we've been sword locked, but Edium solved that problem, taking out Helmasaur King. So he will now be able to full clear this, which he's going straight to the back. He's like, I'm done with the shenanigans. Let's do this. And upon completing it, will give him his 4th dungeon, as he's already completed 3.
Yeah, there are no items. I don't think there are any items back here. Actually, no, I think we've only seen 1 item in Skull Woods. No, we've seen both. So there shouldn't be anything back here. But what Edium's doing is checking the front, the back rather, which you tend to do if you want to just get lucky and hope both items are back here.
Meanwhile, Josh Bleeding is taking on Swamp Palace. So we'll pay attention to some of these checks down here.
Yeah, grand total of 6 items up for grabs. I didn't see anything noticeable pop up on the first chest, but we'll see some more stuff now.
And there's a shield progression there for Josh Bleeding. I believe that is his first shield.
Yeah, that's his first shield, second we now know about. We'll see if he likes to take this to left side swamp here. It looks like he's going to go ahead and pick up the key.
Meanwhile, Synapse takes out those little hammer turtle things and is going to be heading to the boss here in just a second. Meanwhile, Edium is now engaged in fighting Mothula.
decides to burn that Waterfall Fairy green goo, get an extra 8 shots with that Fire Rod. Very useful, since you only need 8 to take him out, and Indium's already nailed 7. I think this is the last one. Or not. He's got to be real careful, actually. A couple of those Fire Rod shots may have knocked him into spikes, but there he goes. Indium's been playing Daredevil's Delight with these bosses so far.
Indeed, yes, I do believe you were correct that Mafia did bounce into the spikes, which for those of you who are not aware, if Mafia bounces into the spikes while you hit him, that nullifies the damage.
So that's now 2 pendants, or rather, our first pendant on Indium's belt. Unfortunately, no mirror plus book means no early pet check. Bummer.
Meanwhile, Synapse takes out Helmasaur King and picks up his first sword.
And Sean's now starting to move things along here on his end and start dipping Tower of Hera, now that he's finally picked up Hammer and the rest of that swamp package.
And I do believe in Tower of Hera there wasn't very many useful items here, but he does take a death.
Yeah, not the worst thing in the world, because that heart container's not the biggest thing. Although we are going with a long time without an armor upgrade. It's not the worst thing in the world, but before it's going to become a problem once some of the late game dungeons start getting dipped. Like, again, we can full clear ice, so wouldn't be surprised.
Josh Bleed still working on his way through Swamp Palace, not really picking up much of anything useful here.
Yeah, I'm looking at the playback for Left Side Swamp real quick. The first item was a map. The second item, it's just showing up right in a second here, is the big key. So,
and Edium actually falls through the hole trying to get to that one chest, but then uses the hook shot to grab it the second time. Synapse here is still working his way through Pod as he picks up his 10-pack of arrows out of that big chest. Meanwhile, Sean Rhapsody is still climbing Tower of Hera.
The Swamp Palace Big Chest had another sword.
That's Master level sword for Edium then.
It will be once he chooses to go down that neck of the woods later down the road. But yeah, we now have 2 swords, so now we have at least the bare minimum to beat the game.
And was that the magic mushroom I just saw?
On excuse me, Edium's screen, that was the powder.
Ah, the powder.
Which, with Hammer, Magic Bat is now finally in. Well, Mirror or Hammer, pick your poison. Really, Magic Bat is now finally in play.
And we get the Cane of Samaria in Swamp Palace.
All right, now we're really getting somewhere here, because Cane opens up.
That opens Turtle Rock.
It does, yeah. That's actually probably the big.
And the Ice Rod is also in Swamp Palace in the chest right before going into the boss room. So
yeah, the waterfall chest, as we call it. So that's huge. That makes Turtle Rock a full clearable dungeon, barring the fact that barring a Bamos lock. In which case, we got one extra bit on our shopping list to do first. So we're actually in flute go mode right now. Because we just need flute to get to Misery Mire, and that's it. So Pedestal is dead, but flute could absolutely be in GT. We do know about the Bamos Medallion. It is already, it is on Lumberjack Ledge.
Indeed it is, as Josh Bladed is taking out the popcorn here on, I do believe, Argus.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's going to have to resort to menu boss strats here, because just Fighter Sword just makes this fight a pain.
As the Fighter Sword does not do damage to these popcorn.
And it does look like Synapse is just visiting the shop for a blue potion refill. Fair enough. But yeah, at this point, GT is very much on the table. We could full clear GT even right now with our current equipment, I think.
I do believe that could be possible, but we do need those 7 crystals to get inside.
Yeah, I'm sure our runners would prefer to not have to dip GT, or not have to last location GT, but we'll see how this plays out, because...
Meanwhile, Synapse is checking Catfish. So the grumpy fish is going to give us just a little pocket change. And Synapse is actually doing the ever-popular Catfish Zora combo, so he will be picking up his Fire Rod here in just a moment.
Yeah, that Fire Rod was actually not too late in the logic chain, all things considering, because you just had to go get your Swamp Palace care package, and that was your Fire Rod. You could either get Fire Rod or go do Swamp first to get your sword. Either way, you had to do both to go to do Skull Woods. Or just go to Helmasaur King and get that sword there.
Indeed, as Rhapsody is now dipping back into Thieves Town.
Yeah, Sean's been having some trouble with Thieves Town here tonight, so hopefully he'll be able to get through it with much less difficulty this time around. He does have 10 hearts in tow, so...
Yeah, he's
right
been
now,
having...
we've got a you first.
Yeah, he has been having a little bit of trouble with his routing tonight.
Yeah, as Chad points out, Ped is absolutely dead right now, because Flute cannot be on Ped Myers' Appendant. But yeah, we pretty much now have everything except Desert, Mire, and the Mire Shed and surrounding areas respectively, and that's it. Pretty much everywhere else could have our Flute.
So unfortunately, we do not give the ever-popular all-dungeon Ped Seed, so... we'll have to say rip pedestal as Edium takes out Blind in nice fashion. Looks like Josh Bleeding is headed toward Pod?
This makes a lot of sense. He's got the tools to full clear it. He hasn't cleared it out yet, and will get Master Sword for doing so.
And that will open up the Castle Tower, or as we refer to it as Aga Tower. But we also have the red cape, so we could even just bypass that energy barrier, even without the sword.
Yeah, really, it's a case of pick your poison. Do you want to dip Aga Tower with low equipment, but nice and early, or do you want to dip it with, better offense? Again, pick your poison, really.
But the only way to deflect those energy bursts from Aga is either use the sword or the ever-popular bug net.
Which has been conspicuously absent so far. But it looks like next port of call for ETM is the Magic Bat, which, again, this is some new information. Now, in the SMZ3 race I worked on Monday night, this had Vanilla Half Magic. I'm going to laugh if it's Vanilla Half Magic again.
Nope, just a full heart. And not even the Sanctuary heart, because it did not fill him up.
I don't think we've seen Sank Heart yet. I know a few heart containers have shown up, but I don't think we've seen Sank Heart.
And Josh Bleeding pulls a shield upgrade, so for him, that makes that the fire shield.
I can't really tell, based on my resolution, what are Sean and Josh's sprites? For a minute I thought Josh is out of keys. That's a little weird.
Indeed it is.
Not anymore.
I'm not sure what those sprites are, actually. Meanwhile, Synapse is doing the Mafia fight, having a hard time dodging all those spikes and energy barriers, but he does manage to take out Mafia, so he will get that compass and pendant. And Rhapsody is taking on Blind. Again, another fight that is rather difficult using just the hammer.
And Chat is enlightening me that Joss's sprite is Harvest Moon. Thank you, Chat. Admittedly, that is a series I have not played, so I would not know.
And the Grove is just hiding some money.
Yeah, I think that was already checked by somebody else who had, by Joss, checked it a lot earlier. But yeah, so we're running...
Yeah, I probably missed that earlier, and this was my first time seeing it.
We're starting to get to the point where we now need to start dipping some pain in the backside locations. Ice has been full clearable for the longest time here, and Turtle Rock is now open, so yeah, I think it's about high time we start dipping those dungeons. E-Team's going to dip Swamp first, though, because that's where the item density is. It is going to work in his favor, because he'll get Master Sword around the same time as Joss will get Master from Helmasaur. So I imagine after this, both of our runners will start migrating elsewhere, unless Joss decides to go to Skull Woods and Thieves Town and do those first.
Indeed, as Rhapsody is still working on that blind fight here, just now getting into Phase 2, now get ready for Phase 3. Signups actually is just starting his Thieves Town checks here.
Yeah, I think, and a problem that Joss had earlier is that Joss has still not picked up Fire Rod yet, so that would explain him delaying Skull Woods as long as he has. And ooh, Sean takes a KO to blind. That is very unfortunate.
Indeed it is. He takes a save and quit there. And he is just going to say, I'll come back to this later. Yet again.
I'll be back again someday. Wait, it's not winter yet.
No, it is not, but almost.
I can't wait for the festive seeds to start showing up once we get towards that time of year. I would like to work the Halloween one if we get the chance. I missed out on it last year, and I was laughing hysterically at the VOD.
That would be a lot of fun. Looks like Rhapsody's doing another... Well, he did a save and quit, went back to the light world. Now he's going back to the dark world. Looks like he's headed back toward Village of Outcasts. I'm not sure what his routing is here. He has been very chaotic this evening.
Yeah, I'm not sure, and looks like Joss is having the same problem where, oopsie, Big Keys Vanilla.
So we'll add that into the, is this thing on column?
Oh, is this... I couldn't hear what you said for a minute. Is this thing on? Okay, I got you now.
Yeah, it's the running joke that me and Professor Pixie have when we see seeds like this where things are in their vanilla location. We add it to the is the randomizer on column.
Fair enough. Although I remember in the older versions of ALTTPR, the Master Sword, the pedestal, when swords weren't progressive, if it was Master Sword on the pedestal, the text would read, I thought this was meant to be randomized.
Indeed, as Shaw Rhapsody does pick up his shovel from Hammer Pegs, and looks like he's going to be checking Magic Bat. Don't think he has the mushroom, so it might be a fake powder glitch here.
Ooh, although E-Team is electing to not do left side swamp. This is, he might decide to go back later after realizing that there are still going to be items MIA in left side swamp / big chest, but he's going to do the diver down glitch here to get the sunken chests.
And I was wrong. Sean Rhapsody did have the magic powder, so he was able to get that item. Meanwhile, Edium finally pulls off the diver down. Spends a little time doing it, but he picks up his cane of Samaria in the process, which we knew was there. Meanwhile, Synapse is back into the blind fight once again.
We'll see where Edium decides to go from here. You either have Ice Palace, which will be a relatively easy dungeon with Kane, or you have Turtle Rock, which has a grand total of 6 items. Ice would end up having 5 because of the 3 items plus the Pyramid Fairy access. So the options are on the table for Edium at the moment.
Indeed they are. I think he might opt to go for the more item-dense location. I know I would.
Yeah, it's really a case of, again, pick your poison. That's been really the name of the game here tonight. And if Edium doesn't go back to left side swamp for Master Sword, it's not the worst thing in the world, because there's still 2 swords in the item pool, so...
The big question is, where are they?
I mean, if we have a Flute and GT scenario, and they end up full clearing GT, they're probably going to find that other sword along the way anyway.
Meanwhile, Sean Rhapsody does unbury that red rupee, decides to leave it behind, while Edium is clearing out the popcorn, using the spin attack method.
Chad brings up a good point. Edium's has a potentially heads-up route here, where if he does Ice first, then TR, he'll be able to go straight to GT. From there, which will just save time overall, because then after GT, you never have to dive Death Mountain ever again.
Exactly, as Edium makes flawless execution on that Argus fight and picks up another crystal. And another dungeon.
Yeah, that's 5 crystals now for Edium, so I would say at this point Edium does have the advantage, but it is going to come down to where that flute is currently parked at.
Exactly, as we are still in no-go mode with that magic flute. And Josh Bleeding on his way to the entrance to the dungeon of Pod, so he'll be getting his Master Sword upon completing Helmasaur, which once again is 17 shots to clear that mask, and then it's Katie bar the door with those arrows.
And indeed, Edium has decided to skip left side swamp and go straight into ice. This makes a lot of sense, and it's gonna definitely clear one more item, one more task off of his to-do list.
And with him doing so, I don't think he needs to go back to swamp at all.
Yeah, not unless those last 2 swords are in really, 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 really stupid spots. Like the pedestal. Like, if it turns out that, like, the other 2 swords are on tablets and, we find Book in GT and its Master Sword on pedestal, that is gonna be the stuff of nightmares.
Indeed it is.
Also, I think somebody... Yeah, Joss took a death to Helmasaur, so he's gotta go all the way back.
Yeah, he didn't have no safety then, and no bottles there for him, so yeah, unfortunately he has to make that climb all over again.
Yeah, that's gonna take Joss a few minutes to recover from.
What I like to call the recrawl. Meanwhile, Eddie, doing nicely here in Ice Palace. Again, giving us fresh information as what's the hiding in here.
Yeah, Sean right now is in the back of Pod heading to Helmasaur King. I think the lack of armor upgrades has really been quite taking quite a toll on our runners here, because they've had a lot of low health, danger low health scenarios, a few boss deaths, even after 10 hearts.
And Eddie attempting to pull off, and does it successfully, the Icebreaker.
Yeah, another very recently discovered glitch. If I'm not mistaken, that was discovered about a year ago now, if not soon after.
I will have to take your word on it, as I'm relatively new to the community. I just started doing this last week, actually.
Fair enough. Alright, I think we've now seen 2 items in Ice Palace for Edium. Just double checking.
And he did pull the compass off of that last check he did.
Yeah, so he's pulled out 2 heart containers so far, so I guess all the health was in Ice Palace. I'm gonna laugh if this 3rd item is the armor upgrade.
And it is just a key.
I'm still gonna laugh if the 3rd item is armor.
Indeed, as Sean Rhapsody and Josh Bleeding are taking on Helmasaur King. The mask is off on Josh Bleeding's side, as we had a little graphical glitch there.
I think his bitrate may have had a hissy fit there for a split second, but for the most part, it's sorted out.
For the most part, as both Rhapsody and Josh Bleeding take out Helmasaur King.
That is almost like that is like another frame perfect boss KO there.
Indeed, and just for record, that is Sean Rhapsody's first sword, and Josh Bleeding will now have Master Sword level.
So Joss, our first runner, despite the knowledge we have seen, to get Master Sword here tonight. I'm sure he's happy to see that nonetheless. No more sword hunting for Ganon later down the road. But now the question is, well, Joss has to go back for Fire Rod at some point, because it's still not on his map's pause screen, so yeah, he still doesn't have it.
And we have our first mill upgrade. Could we say that's a French vanilla upgrade?
Yes. Actually, no, we can say that is perfectly vanilla, because the big chest of ice is supposed to have blue mail.
So chalk another one up to the is this thing on column.
Yep. I did say it.
The commentator's bless / cursing strikes again.
If I was right earlier when I said progression's going to be in GT, I'm going to quietly sneak off into a corner. But yeah, that is a very welcome armor upgrade right in time for Cold Stare, but unfortunately Edium has a minor problem in that he does not have enough magic to actually defeat Cold Stare right now, so
And I think that's why
short
he
by
was,
1.
and that's why he was just dipping everything in here to.
Yeah, so he's gonna... I was gonna say he's gonna improvise. Yeah, he's got a mirror. He's got no choice. The door locked. That's unfortunate.
That is definitely unfortunate. He's probably going to go up to the witch's hut to fill a couple of those bottles up with potion.
I think he's actually just going to save the cash and just go grab the green refill off the waterfall ferry instead. I mean, that is actually the most convenient one right now.
Does make sense because it's an immediate water warp as he does that. He has to release that bee, of course.
Yeah,
And
he's just waiting for the cooldown.
Yep. So he's going to go ahead and fill both of them up, I do believe.
He's actually got all 3 bottles, it looks like. I'm trying to... Where did the 3rd bottle come? I saw the first 2. I don't remember where the 3rd one was from.
Well, not me either. I missed that one completely myself. It's been very chaotic tonight. Meanwhile, Synapse pulls his big key in Swamp Palace as Song Rhapsody is on the Mothula fight. I totally missed that dungeon crawl for him.
Oh, chat brings up the point that Edium does only have 2 bottles, but used one of the greens to instantly refill. So he only has 2 bottles. Our bad.
Alright, so he instantly refills and then just spent the cash to refill it back up then.
Didn't even spend the cash.
Oh, that's right. It's a free refill from the ferry.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad... that's a pretty heads-up play, all things considering. It's just unfortunate that he has to, you know, zip through Ice Palace again, which is not the worst thing in the world, but still...
And Josh Bleeding is actually going to give us our first look, I do believe, at Graveyard Ledge. I don't think anybody's been there yet.
That is true. I think this is our first... if it is our first... if it's not our first visit, we definitely missed it. But let's see.
And it's just a piece... It's just a full piece of love there, but... We have missed some stuff this evening because this has been a very chaotic race.
Yeah, everybody... Again, everybody is everywhere. Tron cutting it close with Mothula there, but pulls out the victory at the last second.
Meanwhile, Synapse does pick up his Cane of Samaria, so there's his Turtle Rock access.
Yeah, also elected to pick up the Big Key in Left Side Swamp and get Master Sword, so we've now got 2 runners on Master Sword.
Meanwhile, Josh Bleeding, we're still having a bitrate issue with Josh Bleeding's stream here. Hopefully that gets sorted out pretty soon. Meanwhile, Edium is now back in Ice Palace, crawling his way back through. He's got one thing in mind, headed straight for the boss, so he's got to make that crawl all over again. Look, since he had to go get that magic refill. Meanwhile, Synapse, he did pick up his Master Sword level and is taking on Argus and clearing out those popcorn.
Yeah, this will be much easier with Master Sword since you don't have to rely on spins. I wouldn't say faster per se, but definitely less stressful.
It's faster than using the hammer.
For sure.
And now we're into the Cold Stare fight, and he is spamming that shell with that fire rod, takes it out nicely, and now we are on the Argus fight.
I wonder in this circumstance if it would have been faster to finish up Castle Tower, get the Bamos Medallion, and then do this. But also, to be fair, under ideal circumstances, you want Castle Tower to be your last dungeon, so that way you can just, you know, if you leave like a mirror portal there, just switch and go straight to Ganon.
Indeed, as Synapse does take out Argus there at Swamp Palace, grabbing that crystal, and Edium doing nicely here on Cold Stare, using some nice hammer strats, and Cold Stare is dead.
I'm pretty sure that blue mail saved his life.
Had he not, I agree. Had he not got that blue mail pickup, he would have died during this fight.
So that's a very good, very lucky of him to have to full clear and get that blue mail right before Cold Stare. So
indeed, as Josh Bleeding does pick up his fire rod from Zoro's Sledge, and John Rhapsody has cleared Thieves Town. Finally.
All right, so Joss is now on the, as we say in N64 Zelda Randos, the way of the hero. With Fire Rod in tow, he can now finally start clearing out the stuff needed to finish things off.
Meanwhile, Edium is straight up Death Mountain. I believe he is going to dip Turtle Rock.
Yeah, and again, we're only looking for Flute here, so once that shows up, it's game over. But if it doesn't show up and we end up having a Flute in GT or someplace else really stupid scenario, oh boy.
Yeah, again, we are in Flute no-go mode right now, so we are looking for that ever-popular Magic Flute. We have still not saluted for the Hyrule National Anthem yet.
And this is just the unfortunate case of, again, everything pretty much opened up after Death Mountain and that the first sword. So, Death Mountain and Swamp Palace specifically.
Yeah, that's where we've seen a lot of our progression and a lot of divergence.
Ooh, chat's saying it could be even worse. We could have Book in GT with Flute being book locked in either desert or on a tablet.
Ooh.
And you know what else we haven't seen? Mushroom.
Okay.
So what if that's on a tablet?
Oh, nasty. Just nasty.
Absolutely. If it ends up being that Flute is 2 steps behind GT, I'm not gonna sit in a corner. I'm gonna yeet to another end of my apartment.
Indeed. What is looking to be a pretty nasty seed for the runners? Very comical for us commentators and you viewers at home watching on Twitch. I'm enjoying this. This is just too much fun. And of course, as expected, Edium doing his Turtle Rock climb here.
Yeah, no sign of any items yet. First chest was a small key.
I was beginning to wonder if Edium was going to use that hook shot to do that fall off the ledge trick to get back to that doorway, but he did pull it off.
Wow, this is a good, this would have been a great go. This is looking like a good, almost a god TR if we were in go mode, because we already have 2 keys and a big key. And no items, so yeah, it's unfortunate that, unfortunately, we do have to full clear looking
and
for Flute
Edium's
here.
knowledge of where the pots and stuff are, he does pick up that full bar of magic before continuing on, which will help him. And he is looking fairly good in this run of Turtle Rock with those keys. And he picks up another one, but I do believe that is a static pickup from that key.
Yeah, that's an enemy drop, lucky enemy drop chance.
And now we just got to get away from these chain chomps.
Yeah, these hurt these hurt on Blue Mail.
And there's the Book of Mador.
All right, now we're finally that actually puts Desert Palace into logic too, so Flute could also be there now. So basically, it required almost all crystal dungeons clear to get your Flute. From the looks of things, I mean, I think it's a pretty safe bet. Flute is now behind either GT or that book.
I would be safe in that assumption as well. We could see it on one of the 2 tablets, or we could see it in GT.
You know what? I'm having a terrible mind fart here. Did any of our runners ever check Agina at any point during this race?
From what I do believe, no. And we get the mirror shield on Edium's side.
Oh, that's French vanilla.
Yeah, indeed.
So,
But no, I do not think any of our runners have checked Agina today.
that is going to be the I'm gonna continue laughing so hard. You won't hear it, but I will be laughing so hard if that ends up being Flute on Agina. Because we have had access to that since the 0th minute of the game.
I will start cackling, and yes, you will hear it if Flute is in Agina. Because everybody has isolated Agina.
Which it was easy to do, to be fair, because we haven't had desert access until just now. We had
This is
early
true,
Dark
but
World
however,
access.
when I do routing, I typically route in Agina as part of my South Shore checks, just so that I do not isolate it.
Yeah, I'm actually very surprised none of our runners just took the expense to check that out.
Meanwhile, Synapse is actually getting ready to do the drop down to go into the Cold Stare fight, as Shad Rhapsody is on his way to be doing the same thing as he's doing his Ice Palace crawl as well. Josh Bleedin checking that chicken hut. We know that, oh, he's in the bomb hut for a potion.
Yeah, Joss, with the issues he's been having with bosses, I'm not surprised by this call here.
But he is doing fairly better than Shad Rhapsody, who has had a lot of trouble with his routing decisions and boss fights this evening.
Yeah, while Synapse and Sean are both on going through Ice Palace, Synapse, compared to Sean, has Tower of Hera and Swamp under his belt, so that puts him significantly further ahead. I just missed what was in the Crystal Roller chest there, but it looks like we haven't found anything else of severe interest in GT.
Anything useful there.
And not GT, Turtle Rock. GT's coming up after this.
Yes, because this will be the 7th and final crystal for Edium once he clears this dungeon.
So let's see where Synapse decides to go now. So that's crystal number 6. It's probably going to be Turtle Rock. Yeah, everybody's pretty much funneling into the same route here, just because it routes out fairly well.
And it makes sense to do GT after getting all 7 crystals, because GT is a very item-dense location.
Yeah, there's a grand total of 27 checks in that dungeon. Granted, a good number of them are keys, but 27 chests, a good, 4 of them are keys?
I think you might be right.
Plus big map and compass, so yeah, it's 20 total items in 20 total items in GT.
And Josh Bladen now making his way through the back half of Skull Woods, so we'll be seeing his Mothula fight here in probably about 5 minutes.
And Chad is informing us that it's 20 non-dungeon items, but at least at most 8 are not junk. Because yeah, GT is deliberately filled with a number of junk items. Because otherwise, practically everybody be diving GT almost immediately in these all dungeon scenes.
And Edium is now face to face with Trinex, as Synapse is now making his entrance into Turtle Rock, so he will be starting that climb as soon as he opens that door. Shad Rhapsody taking on Cold Stare, having a little bit of trouble with those hammer strats.
Oh, it's mostly to prevent Fighter Sword GT every seed. Fair enough. And luckily, we won't be doing Fighter Sword GT at the rate... well, actually, no, I stand corrected. Edium's going to be doing Fighter Sword GT at the rate we're going here. Unless, of course, Trinex happens to have another sword.
Which we will find out here in just a moment. The Firehead and the Icehead are dead. The main body shortly to follow.
I don't know. I'm on a roll tonight. I'm probably got one more correct item left to call on this one. Is it? Is it another sword?
It is the red mail.
Okay. So there's all the armor upgrades late game.
So our armor upgrades are in Ice Palace and Turtle Rock.
Nice of Edium to get that right in time for GT, because GT is not a friendly dungeon, even with 14 hearts.
And speaking of GT, we now must play that ever-popular game, Where is the Big Key?
Yeah, we got 21 chests and 1 torch where that big key can be hiding, so get your guesses between 1 and 22. We'll give you a few seconds after Edium enters GT, just because it is a bit of a short walk from Turtle Rock. I'll cut it off when Edium picks a side. Ooh, but keeping
Fair
your eye
enough.
on Sean, keep your eye on Sean Rhapsody. He's going to be checking Pyramid Fairy for us.
Yes, he is. He's got that bomb in tow.
Oh, and actually, Edium's giving everybody in chat another minute to guess by checking Ether Tablet.
All right, so we'll see what's there.
Just a little piece of love.
So he's not going to bother. All right, so I guess we can cut it off as soon as he makes his entrance, as you've had a little bit of extra time. So lock in those answers, as they are now considered locked. And he's pulling right side first.
All right. First chest, Hope Room, small key. Second chest,
Small
key. It likes to go full right.
Just for the sake of argument, I'm going to go with check number 13.
Ooh, Pyramid Fairy had a sword. Actually, technically, vanilla sword. So that's where the third sword was hiding. Now where's number 4? I'm going to guess big key in, like, chest number, because I don't see it in chat, 11. And I'm going to guess the flute is in tile room. Because I think, although to be fair, somebody in chat did mention that earlier, so...
I'm going to say that the flute is in Agena. And there's your final sword location. It is in GT, and now Edium does have Master Sword level.
Alright, so yeah, everybody's got the swords they need to finish up here, so... that's now, that was check number 6, I think, for Edium. So yeah, now he's going to go left. And not a big key, but a mushroom on the torch. So that's our last...
Most likely will not be turning that in. Unless the witch is hiding the flute.
Unless the witch is hiding the flute and it's not in desert already.
Meanwhile, Synapse doing nicely over there in the Turtle Rock, which means he's going to be doing Mimic Cave here in just a hot second.
All right, chest number 8, map. Chest 9, red rupee. Chest 10, small key. Chest 11
is the magic flute. We have the flute.
Called
Edium
it.
Is in go mode at 1 hour and 25 minutes.
Called it. So I guessed it wrong. I said 11 was going to be big key. Nope, it was flute instead. Now I am going to have to hide in a corner for this interview, aren't I?
Indeed, as Sean Rhapsody is now making his way to start his crawl through Swamp Palace. And we're still looking for that big key. As Josh Bleeding is opening the door to Turtle Rock himself. So...
yeah, we're going to chest 13 now, this is. And
darn
it's a heart
and it's
container.
just a piece, and it's just a full heart container. There goes my guess.
Alright, so now we've got 14 through 17 here. Rando room coming up, aptly named because you only see it in Randomizer. It's just a refill of supplies otherwise.
Indeed, as Josh Bleeding is giving us that eye cringe bit rate failure again.
Ooh, 14 half magic and 17 cane of Burna, the only notables from that set of pickups. Half magic is definitely very helpful, as we are still looking at a potential silverless Ganon scenario here, because we still haven't found that second bow.
This is true, and this is actually perfect timing for Edium to pick up his Master Sword level, because now he can just do the Master Sword silverless fight.
Yeah, he's not going to end up going back to left side swamp, and most definitely won't be checking Pyramid Fairy now. With half magic, red mail, and 15 hearts, Master Sword silverless isn't the worst thing ever, but it's gonna be interesting to watch, no less. Unless, of course, Silver's just so happened to fall on his lap by, like, killing Landmolus or Vitreous or something.
And here we are with our second round against the Armos Knights.
Ooh, Edium being a little cheeky here and electing for the Burna bundle strats.
And he rounds them up fairly nicely. And it's over.
I'm coining that term, by the way, the Burna bundle strats. Chest 19, red rupee. Chest 20, money. Chest 21, red rupee. Tile room has the big key.
So the last check has the big key. Wow.
I think I just burnt up all my psychic energy, though, because I said flute was going to be in tile room and big key was going to be 11, and they were swapped.
Yeah, I think you did burn up your little energy there.
So I was kind of right, question mark?
Meanwhile, Josh Bleeding does pick up his Book of Medora while trying to fight the Chain Chomps. Synapse is taking on Trinax while Sean Rhapsody's still doing his Swamp Palace crawl.
Yeah, Synapse elected to take on the Ice Head first, which makes a lot of sense. You really don't want that thing causing, you don't really want that thing icing the floor and making the place a hockey rink.
Yeah, you really don't want that Ice Walk state. It's not very fun to deal with.
And
meanwhile,
Synapse...
that hand keeps trying to get Edium, but because he had the the red cape active, it wasn't able to get him. But after waiting for all those tiles to diminish, he does pick up that big key, so we will be making that climb.
Aw, the bunny sprite for the Harvest Moon sprite is the puppy. How cute!
I guess we could say who let the dogs out.
Indeed. Alright, now we'll see if Edium decides to check the upper 4 chests just to check for silvers or another sword. I would think he would because, I mean, you're in go mode, but even still, getting a silvers or another sword would be really nice right about now.
Well, it wouldn't hurt to check the chests that are immediately along the way, because you're really not going too far out of your way to make those checks.
Exactly.
So, we'll see what he does here. Hopefully, he might be hoping he could do those checks and find the silvers, which would make the Ganon fight a lot easier. But we still could see the Master Sword silverless strat here.
Yeah, and the funniest thing is, even though we just finally picked up the flute, we actually still don't know what Maya's medallion is. So after Castle Tower, we might still have to, so we might actually end up having to do Castle Tower sooner rather than later, depending on if Maya is Bamos locked.
Right, considering we have to do it anyway because it's an all-dungeon seed. But we have to wait to see what the routing is. Meanwhile, Synapse is opening the door to GT, and he will be making his GT crawl. Let's see how fast it takes him to discover the big key.
Yeah, and Synapse is got a full clear GT because he's still looking for flute, so he's gonna get it as well as that big key. I can't.
And we get our first Land Molus fight here at GT, as Sean Rhapsody did pick up his Ice Rod on his way to the boss of Swamp Palace.
Those also picked up Tempered Swords.
Ooh, we are cooking with bacon with Sean Rhapsody.
Yeah, so we finally have a runner on Tempered Sword an hour and a half in. And that, in Sean's case, is courtesy of that Pyramid Fairy Sword. And if Sean full clears GT, which I assume he will, looking for flute, assuming he goes... He might actually... Oh yeah, the big key was in Tile Room, so assuming he doesn't gamble Tile Room, goes left first and then picks up the big key in Tile Room, for example, he's actually probably going to end up with Butter Sword.
Eddie, I'm having a little trouble with those guards on that bridge. And just a side note here, Edium is still the only one in go mode at this point.
Yeah, Synapse is skipping Tile Room and going full right here, so it's going to be a while before he runs into the flute or the big key. More so the big key. Flute's pretty much next up on the shopping list.
And that will put him in go mode as soon as he acquires it.
And Chad brings up a good point. After Aga 1, you activate the flute. Bamos is right there. So yeah, this is ultimately not going to be the biggest deal if Bamos is
And we have bacon level sword for Synapse. Arrow of Destiny on Edium's side.
That's odd. I thought we already saw that. And Sean is actually finally checking Agina's cave. We're finally going to see what this is an hour and a half later. If this is Silver's, I'm going to laugh.
Well, we'll find out in like 0.3 seconds. Nope, just some red rupees.
Oh, I think Edium's enraged Moldorm here.
Yeah, Edium looked like he had a little problem with Moldorm too here.
Luckily, does not fall to that rage phase. Picks up, gets the last chest, which is a heart container.
Yeah, taking a fall at this point for Edium would have been a bit of a time sink, as Synapse is hot on his heels.
Yeah, it would have been a bit of a time sink, but not the worst one ever. But Synapse now finally gets that flute.
And that puts him at go mode at 1 hour 33 minutes.
This is one of those seeds where I feel like they're really, given the way that routing into GT kind of works, there really wasn't much of a way you could have done this faster. Because optimally speaking, you're going to want to finish the crystals, then dip GT if Flute's not showing up. Ooh, nice double on the end there. I think that was a 2-1-1-2 question mark?
Yeah, I think so. He did have a little trouble with that, but he finally knocks him out. And Josh Bleeding taking out Trinax. He did get a little icy floor there, but he does take out the heads fairly nicely, and he will be taking out the body here in a second. And Edium does remember that it's all dungeons. We still need him to dip into Desert Palace and Misery Mire.
Yeah, so now he's going to set up a mirror portal right in front of Castle Tower and go do that now. With Master Sword, he could just swipe the barrier down, go right through the front door. Not nearly as flashy as smashing the barrier in Wind Waker. In that one, pretty much every vase in Hyrule smashed at the same time.
Indeed. Josh Bleeding finally takes out the body of Trinax. And Sean Rhapsody still doing his crawl through Turtle Rock.
I see. Joss has gotten all 7 crystals. He's on the way to GT. Probably just going to pick up Ether Tablet like everybody else.
Bleeding, trying to use that hook shot to negate some damage from that Lionel does not work out because he still takes a hit as the hook shot retracts. Synapse taking on Armos Knights number 2, opting for the traditional arrow method. Having a little problem with this fight, but this one's a little bit more trickier because of the icy floor.
Yeah, luckily, thanks to putting off Castle Tower last, this is going to be a cakewalk to go through because Fire Rod absolutely torches, quite literally, most of these enemies.
Indeed, I think the best strat that I've seen on the icy Armos Knight fight was what you have dubbed the Burna Bundle strat.
Yeah, I hope that catches on because it just rolls off the tongue really well.
It really does. And we are now in the title room for Synapse, so he will be getting that big key once he dodges all these tiles, but that's not working out too well for him.
Yeah, worst case, he can just, do what he's doing now, pop the cape and pull the wall.
Which will stop him from draining magic. That is the same strat that Edium used earlier.
Yeah.
And speaking of Edium, he is now doing the Aga 1 fight.
Yeah, that's the first blue ball we've seen now, too. Although, I think Seems a little overpowered for this fight. Same sword, but mirror shield, red mail, 17 hearts.
Yeah, it's a bit more power than you're intended to have here.
But yeah, right now, so far, it's 2 blue balls.
And Josh Bleeding has made his way into GT, and he went straight to left side. He's going to pick up that ever-popular mushroom, but he also doesn't know where the flute is just yet, so that would be why he picked it up.
Yeah, so he's actually going to get flute a little earlier in this dive. The question will be, does he choose to gamble tile room at this point for the big key to speed up things just a wee bit on his end? So
Just a bit.
Yeah, we actually ended up not getting too many blue balls, only 3 today, so not too bad. Could be worse, could be better. But 3 is still pretty respectable.
Alright, and Aga 1 is dead, so we'll be either dipping Mire or Desert Palace on Edium's side. Which will give us some more new information, but we don't really need it because we are in go mode on Edium's side and on Sign-Up side.
Yeah, the one downside to Mire and Desert both being the last dungeons is that under ideal circumstances, you'd finish Mire, Mirror, and then do Desert. Minor problem, we have to get can the Mirror portal in front of Castle Tower. Well, actually, that's really not a big deal. We can just waltz through the Castle Tower entrance, so...
Right, and it is now time to remove your hats and place your hand over your heart for the Hyrulean National Anthem.
Honk.
And it does look like we are going to get that. Nope, he dipped right off, probably just to check the ledge there, which is only some rupees, which he will probably dip Mire and then Desert, as he does not need to dip into Checkerboard Cave or the closet as he's in go mode, so we're going straight inside the dungeon. But if he does dip the closet, he might be looking... Nope, he is going to go dip into the closet. He might be looking for those silvers.
I wouldn't be surprised, because again, considering how short this check is, if silvers show up, you end up saving so much time.
Speaking of silvers, there they are. That just made the get-it fight for him a whole lot easier.
Yeah, there is a distinct possibility that other runners here on this restream may skip those, if they are so inclined.
I do believe at this point, Edium definitely has the definitive edge here, as he has the medallion requirement, as it is the Ether Medallion required to get into Misery Mire, so we will not be going and getting that Bamos Medallion.
Nice to strike that off the list when you have the chance. Vanilla Medallions today. Is this thing, as you said earlier, is this thing on?
Indeed.
We've had a lot of those today.
Yes, we have.
Here's the next $1 million question. Are we getting a God Mire? Probably not, because we're in go mode. I mean, you know how it works, right? It's fire locked if you need to you're in go mode. It's a God Mire if you need to full clear.
But with us being in go mode, we're just gonna run straight to the back and be like, okay, we're done.
I am out.
Meanwhile, Josh Bleeding says he's had enough of the Icy Armos fight as he takes them out, and he will be getting those 3 checks right there, which we know to be pretty useless.
Well, we got a small key in the first chest, so if the big key shows up right next door, I like to call that the Son of God Mire.
We'll roll with it as Sean Rhapsody now,
there you go.
Here. I believe he is going to pull GT here. Yes, yeah. Rhapsody gets going into GT, while Sign-Ups takes out Moldorm number 2, and he will be taking on the Aga fight here momentarily. And yes, I was right. Edium is just like, let's do this.
This is what I get for not calling A Link to the Past randomizer race for like 3-4 weeks. I end up calling everything and it's weird. Yeah,
Sean
it
Rhapsody
was.
does pull that ether tablet, and for his trouble, does pick up that half of heart, or that,
Ooh,
or that piece of heart rather.
I think
Synapse
Eddie
doing
just gave
agate
us.
too, and it looks like it's going to give him a little trouble.
Eddie is showing us some fancy, spooky action here to just zip through the rest of this mire dive.
Yeah, that was a rather quick crawl through the dungeon, as we now take on Vitreous. And with those silvers, this is going to be a one-and-done fight.
Yeah, those silver arrows really in probably one of the most convenient places they could have been next to, that first chest in mire. But
Yeah, that
yeah,
was a really
that's
rather good call for Edium to pick up that silver in that mire closet. Not many people would have made that check in go mode.
yeah, especially since if your main thing is silvers and or sword, they could literally be anywhere. So the fact that they just so happen to be in the 2 checks that were left on Edium's optional to-do list worked out. Now, ideally, Edium wants to see the big key on the torch right now. Just yoink it and zip on over to Landmolus. So we'll see if this end game ends up being better than the early game. Not
And
the case.
on the torch is the compass, so that big key is elsewhere. Most
Also-
likely in this room right here.
Also, 07 for real this time, as we can actually hear the Hyrulean National Anthem.
Indeed we did. And that chest ended up being a small key, so it looks like the big key is going to be on right side.
Well, we had a small god mire, so guess you can't have them all.
Oh, there's the big key. It's on right side. All right, we are waiting. Edium is making his crawl through the back half of Desert Palace. Meanwhile, Synapse is in Desert now. He's going to be finding his big key fairly shortly. Josh bleeding on Landmo's number 2. And Rhapsody is now in GT and taking the left side. Edium almost forgetting to pick up that small key, but he picks it up, and he's going to be lighting the torches, and we will be underway with this Landmola fight to clear the last dungeon for Edium. Meanwhile, Synapse going to go in the right side of Desert to pick up his big key. And he is the only other person in go mode at this point, so he's going to be back out and head straight to the back of Desert. So, and speaking of go mode, Sean Rhapsody enters go mode at 1 hour 46 minutes, picking up the flute right there in that room. And at 1 hour and 46 minutes as well is Josh Bleeden, picking up his magic flute. So all runners are now in go mode. The definitive edge is on Edium, because he can head straight to the Ganon fight right now. Everybody else, not so much.
Actually, he's being pretty smart here to save and quit from the Dark World, which will just put him right on the pyramid. And it would appear that Ganon has gone to the Agatha School of Insects. And is sharing his knowledge.
Indeed he is. And for his troubles, we will play the ever-popular game called Stick the Pig.
Pin the silver arrow on the pork.
Yes. And Synapse takes out the Landmolus and picks up his red pendant from Desert.
Enemy electing to use the cape here to escape from the fire bats is on phase 3. Unfortunately, Ganon is being extremely uncooperative with these teleports here.
Yes, he is.
I'm pretty sure that was 4 teleports before the first vulnerability frame.
I believe you are correct. Meanwhile, Josh Bleeding taking on his AGA 2 fight, only getting a single hit there on that first attempt.
I say his teleports were uncooperative, and then immediately after, he only teleports once each.
And Edium does get the torch glitch, which if you are not aware of, in this particular room, you have to light the left side torch before the right side goes out in order to get that glitch to work properly.
Ooh, Edium didn't have silvers loaded before the stun there, but gets the final shot, and that is, barring some kind of disaster on the 1x3 bridge, going to be GG for Edium.
Yes, GG for Edium. We'll have that done time here in just a hot second for you. As soon as he crosses that bridge, which he does, and will finish with an official time of 1 hour and 48 minutes, 48 seconds. He is third over all of our runners today, first in our restreamers. Your overall winner today is Bonti, 1 hour 41 seconds, 1 hour 41 minutes 44 seconds, excuse me, with Shire in an overall second place finish of 1 hour 46 minutes and 38 seconds.
So yeah, not much of a huge difference between first and Edium, given the circumstances surrounding the seed.
Indeed not, and our overall fourth place finisher is Caston, coming in at 1 hour 49 minutes and 43 seconds.
I'm actually going to finally see what was on pedestal. The only interesting thing that it could be is fungus for butterflies. Oh, that must have been the bug net on.
It was
on the mushroom.
Couch Cash.
Let's see if Edium will join us in the booth for an interview.
And Josh Bleeding playing the Hyrulean National Anthem for us, activating his flute. Meanwhile, Sean Rhapsody taking on Moldorm number 2. Meanwhile, I believe Synapse is still crawling his way through GT.
No, Synapse is actually in the back end of Meyer now.
He hasn't made it that far yet.
Yeah, he's cruising,
My apologies.
actually. We are now
Josh
joined.
Bleeding go into the closet to pick up those silver arrows?
Doesn't look like it. We are now joined in the booth by Edium. GG to you.
Yo,
Welcome, welcome, Edium and GG for that race. Well done.
jeez.
We will-
Fun seat.
Yeah, you absolutely made a fantastic guess going to Meyer Shed right before dipping Meyer.
Yeah, that was pretty nice. Didn't really want to do Master Sword Silver list, but I was prepared for it.
So your other 2 swords, because the swords you picked up were Pod and GT, if memory serves, right?
Yeah.
The other 2 swords were on the Swamp Palace Big Chest, which the big key was in left side swamp, and Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Sean Rhapsody does take down that AGA 2 fight. And Synapse takes out Vitreous, picking up his green pendant. And he is all set to go for the Ganon fight.
So Edium, I have to apologize. I did call at the start of the race flute and something important in GT.
Oh, well, that's pretty common for all dungeons.
Although it was weird, because I was saying Big Key was going to be 11 and Flute was going to be Tile Room. Turns out it was the other way around.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing that kind of sucked about this run for me was that Ice Palace. I didn't have enough magic to do Cold Stare, so I had to... And I didn't have a key for that magic refill room, so I had to mirror out and get some magic.
Yeah,
I think
luckily...
After I did it, I realized I could have stolen a key from the right side, but I'd already mirrored out by that point, so...
To be fair, Waterfall Fairy was pretty close.
Yeah, but I still had to climb all the way down Ice Palace again, so I lost like 2 or 3 minutes there.
That blue mail in Ice's big chest, that vanilla blue mail saved your life definitely during that Cold Stare fight.
Yeah, that was pretty helpful.
we had a lot of Jeff. I'm gonna let this is your term. I'm gonna let you use it for ways we describe a few things of this seed.
Yes, the term that he's referring to is is this thing on column, as far as finding things in their vanilla location.
Because we had the vanilla blue mail, there was a sword on Pyramid Fairy,
Vanilla pendant in desert.
How about that stacked East Death Mountain overall, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it was nice getting the mirror and flippers. Could have used the flippers earlier, so I didn't have to come back for the fire rod. But
yeah, that was actually the thing that gave you a pretty decisive advantage, is you sequence breaking the fire rod early with splash deletion.
yeah, I mean, sorry.
I think you were the first one to reach. I think you were like the second one to reach Zora's Domain, but the first to actually do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I could have splash deleted, but I'd already beaten Eastern, and when you do Ermos, there's something that screws up the splash delete, so I had to water walk.
Fascinating. But yeah, overall, we were worried about, not worried, but we were starting to think when we saw that Bamos on the Lumberjack ledge, we figured, all right, you know what, it's all dungeons. That might actually be, that's probably going to be required. Turns out it's the one thing we didn't need today.
Indeed it was.
Yeah. I mean,
aside from this very, very difficult seed, Edium, what was your most difficult part of the seed?
well, that, like I said, that Ice Palace play, just running around with fighter sword and no half magic or anything. And I think I used my magic on Mothula, which I almost died to Mothula. That was a close one.
Bosses were a real pain in the backside for runners today. We had a lot of other runners having boss KOs today. Sean had a few issues against Blind and Mothula. I think Joss had an issue a couple of times around in Thieves Town. But yeah, it was until Blue Mail showed up, defense was really a problem in this seed.
Yeah.
Indeed it was. Meanwhile, Sean Rhapsody is taking on the Landmolus fight, and I do believe he just knocked him out, and Synapse is taking on Aga 1. I do have a race update with an overall place of 5th will be Tennis Dude with a time of 1 hour, 53 minutes, 20 seconds. And down goes Aga for Synubs as Josh Bleeden is heading into his Landmola's fight. And Sean Rhapsody is now ready to dip into Mire. And does not go into the closet either, so he will be doing this silverless.
Tempered Sword Silverless is thankfully not as much of a pain in the backside, because I think it's only 12 spins in Phase 4. Compared to the 24 in Master Sword Silverless, so it's not the worst thing in the world. And with Red Mail, 18 hearts, and I'm pretty sure Synum's picked up some potions along the way, if not some other form of safety. I think he's going to be alright.
Yeah, I feel he should be alright here, but still, seeing those silvers, picking up those silvers would have been very helpful.
Actually, now that I think about it, I think I remember him burning his blue potion on Cold Stare, now that I think about it, so he might actually not have a safety item, but he's got full magic, so he's at least going to be able to keep the torches lit for a while.
And Josh Bleeden did take out those Landmolus, and he is now all set to take on Ganon himself as well. Meanwhile, Sean Rhapsody continuing his crawl through Mire.
Yeah, luckily it's a Son of God Mire, so it's not the worst Mire ever. Looks like Joss has to still do Aga 1, though, so he's going to just clear that off his to-do list. Sean as well. Actually, Edim, you're the only one to do Castle Tower before the Pendant Dungeons, by the looks of things, actually.
Yeah, I just did that so you could save and quit. Also, just in case Bombos was required.
Yeah, I was very heads up thinking from you. Careful, Sinums, you almost fell off there. But yeah, everybody's Castle Tower run is going to be pretty painless with Tempered Sword, Half Magic, multiple armor upgrades, although... oh no, everybody's got red mail, because yeah, everybody's mail upgrades fell on their lap today. The red mail you pretty much had to pick up, because it was on Trinex. And that is Silverless Ganon for Sinums. Get your GGs in chat.
And Synapse does clear that Ganon fight and crosses the bridge and will clock it 6th overall with a time of 1 hour, 58 minutes, 49 seconds. And is 2nd in the restream.
Alright, so I have to ask, what's the 7000 series joke?
I have no idea.
Because there are some great jokes in Link to the Past Randomizer. I just wish I knew all of them. But that's Green Pendant for Sean, so now it's Castle Tower left on his list, and it's off to the Big Pig. We are now joined in the chat by Sinums. GG to you.
Yeah, thank you.
GG Synapse, well done.
Yeah, it's not too bad. That was a really straightforward one, though, for all dungeons.
Yes.
So, unfortunately, that gives the guys who are really good at execution a bit of an advantage there.
Yeah, the seed pretty much just said, you know, hey, get your Dark World access, go to Thieves Town, go to Death Mountain, full clear your crystal dungeons, get Flute out of GT, finish the game.
Yep, but still, you know, under 2 hours for all dungeons, that's not too bad.
It's not too bad, all things considering. Although, Silvers were actually right along your path. They were actually in Mireshed.
Well, no way was I stopping there.
Yeah, and I think the last sword was in Pyramid. Your butter sword would have been Pyramid Fairy, so your sword actually would have been fourth sword. Actually, would have been Vanilla.
And for him, that would have been another one in my favorite column. Is this thing on?
Yeah, we had a few of those today. We had Vanilla Blue Mail, we had Vanilla Desert Pendant. I think a couple of Vanilla Heart pieces showed up, although that's more common than anything else. But we had a few of those today.
Did we? I guess I wasn't paying a whole lot of attention. I just don't remember where I found stuff.
Yeah, we had a couple. The one that struck me immediately was the Blue Mail and Ice Palace Big Chest.
Okay, yeah, that was there.
But, anything else you want to mention about the seed? Any, I noticed that bosses in particular were also giving just about everybody a little trouble today.
Were they? It didn't feel too bad.
I think yours were mostly all right, but a lot of close calls happened, for sure. We saw you had to, we saw you had to burn that blue goo on Cold Stare at the last second.
Well, I used the green one on Cold Stare. I used the blue on Trinex.
That's the one.
But I always have trouble with Trinex and Hammer, so...
Yeah, the swords were pretty late this seed, all things considering. Unless you dipped Pot and Swamp immediately after Hammer. So how about Flute and GT, huh?
Yeah, thankfully I didn't go running off to desert after TR.
Yeah, that's we were dreaming up we in chat were dreaming up some worst case scenarios where like Flute might be behind book, like on a tablet or behind Mushroom.
Yeah, I was like running over there to check the ether tab, and then I was like, oh yeah, that's all the crystals.
And
Well-
Josh Bleeding getting that torch glitch, working on his Ganon fight. Doing it bacon silverless.
Alright, GG's, everyone. I'm gonna head out. Thanks for the commentary and the tracking and everything.
Not a problem. GG, Edium. Thanks for being here.
And thank you for racing.
Meanwhile, Sean Rhapsody now entering AGA 1.
Yeah, luckily, AGA 1 was pretty cooperative today. Only three blue balls. Although the Ganon teleport RNG could have been a little better at the start.
Indeed, and speaking of the Ganon, it looks like Josh Bleeding is having some difficulty there. He is down to like 6 pieces of heart left.
That's not too bad. That's still enough to tank a Ganon hug. And he's already pulled off more than half of his spin, so it's not going to be too much longer before this fight's over for him. We hope.
Hopefully, he just got to do a better job of avoiding that fire bat.
Ooh, I was a little worried that if he got repelled the wrong way from that spin, that was going to be a fall. That would be a pretty nasty time loss.
Indeed, it would be.
But that is the last spin. So get your GGs in chat for Joss, who will be our third runner to cross the restream, and barring some disaster and confirming in the race time, this will be Josh taking 7th overall with a... okay, yeah, he did cross. Joss will take 7th overall with an official race time GG time of 2:04:34.
Indeed, he will. That just leaves 2 runners left on our overall racers, so it's a total of 9 entrants this evening. And AGA 1 goes down by way of Sean Rhapsody, and he is just going to do the drop down right into Ganon.
Yeah, same as everybody, Josh and Sinums both did. Once again, getting the info from the Agatha School of Ganon Facts.
And this is actually a butter silverless fight.
Not too much different by comparison.
No, not really. It just means that we get to stick the pig with butter.
At least it sweetens up the bacon before we eat it.
This is true. Everybody loves a little butter-flavored pork.
Alright, now for again an excessive teleportation sequence, go. Actually, wait, no, he's already done that.
And he does pull off the torch glitch, so no troubles there.
Yeah, I think it is still 12, I think it is still 12 spins even with butter, so, regardless, this fight won't be too much longer. Sean's health is way better, at the moment, so 15 hearts, yeah, I don't foresee... I say that,
I think I figured it out.
Alright, yep, you did. Welcome to the booth, Joss Bleedin. GG to you.
Thank you.
GG's, Joss. How you doing tonight?
Okay. I think I pulled it together. I started off pretty rough.
Yeah, bosses were definitely giving you a lot of trouble today.
Yeah, I was like, did I sign up for a swordless seed? What happened?
Yeah, it was, first sword wasn't until... I can't remember if your first sword was Pot or Swamp Big Chest.
Swamp Big Chest.
Okay, yeah, some people's first sword was Pod, the other was Swamp Big. The sword you ended up not getting, your butter sword would have been vanilla.
And
Oh,
Ganon,
you're kidding.
Yeah,
Oh.
sword on Pyramid Fairy.
I love it.
And speaking of swords, Sean Rhapsody has swords up, getting ready to cross that bridge. As he's done with that Ganon fight, he will clock in overall 8th with a time of 2 hours, 7 minutes, and 23 seconds, which means Taco will finish dead last.
Yeah, that's going to be all the runners on our restream now registering finishing times here tonight. So how did you think about that start, Joss? 15 really early Dark World access, and then East Death Mountain being loaded?
Yeah. Oh man, that was. I'm just trying to think of all the ways I could have done that better, and oh man, CAC was a letdown.
It was, yeah. The seed was basically just saying, hey, get your Titan's mitts, go get Hookshot out of Thieves Town, go to East Death Mountain, get the rest of your Crystal Dungeon care package. Don't forget to grab the Fire Rod, and then clear all your crystals, go to GT, get your flute, and that's all she wrote.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm still trying to process.
It was a very chaotic seed, so I could completely understand. What was your most difficult part of the seed?
I'd say blind fight, because I've done hammer blind before. I've practiced. I just don't know. It got away from me. And from there, I was a little tilted going through. I'd say up until after Helmasaur died, I was just like, ah.
Yeah, we did notice you did have some struggles with your hammer strats on blind, but you weren't the only one this evening that had problems.
Okay, I'm not alone. That makes me feel better.
Yeah, Sean, Mothula was being a bit of a pain. I think I saw Helmasaur causing trouble as well for a couple of runners.
I lost I did sword spins. I don't know why, and so I lost my hammer always going up, and it just threw me off. And then he got a lucky shot in because I thought I got the 8th arrow, but apparently I didn't.
Yeah, we are waiting for Sean to join us in the booth. Should be joining us momentarily.
Yeah, I hope he does join us. Curious to ask a few questions myself.
And he is now joining us in the booth. Sean, GG to you.
Hey, thanks for the GG.
Sean, how you doing tonight?
I'm getting pretty tired. It's pretty late for me, but still pretty fun anyway.
Fair enough. Yeah, this seed was a weird one. Very linear, all things considering.
Yeah, unfortunately I didn't quite play it that way, but it was definitely quite linear if you did it the right way.
Yeah, we saw Thieves Town and Pod in particular were giving you a bit of a hard time. I think a couple of runners...
Thieves Town especially, that was rough.
Yeah, we noticed a lot of you forgot to go get Pod's big key before checking the big chest.
Oh yeah, I did that.
No, I managed to grab that one first.
I think actually, Sean, you were the only one to grab that big key first.
Oh, really?
Wow. I think Eddie may have grabbed it as well, but I'm not 100% sure. You are also the only one to do Butter Sword, but Joss and Sean, would you both like to know where Silvers were?
Sure.
Sure.
Right next door to your green pendant, they were in Mireshed.
Oh, were they really? Oh, man.
Oh.
Yes,
Oh, wow.
Out of all of you, Eddie was the only one that checked that Meyer shed to grab those silvers.
Oh.
At the time, Edium was only running Master Sword because he skipped Left Side Swamp and did not go to Pyramid Ferry.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
So he missed out on a better sword upgrade.
Yeah, if I had been in that situation, I probably would have checked Meyer Shed, but with Butter Sword, it's like, if I don't find him, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, Sean, I have to ask, because it's been kind of bugging me most of the seed.
Mm-hmm.
What was the logic behind your routing? Because it seemed very chaotic to me.
Honestly, I don't know that there really was any. I was just trying to find a break somewhere and something that kind of out of the way that might give me just a little bit of an edge somewhere. But with as linear as it was, it probably hurt me more than anything.
I believe it did, because you did take a few unnecessary double dips into a few of those dungeons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, looks like I've seeing that fire rod on Zora Ledge and grabbing that. I was like, hey, maybe there's a sword over in Pod I can grab real quick so I can knock out both Thieves Down and Schoolwoods in one go. And that didn't work out for me. And well, would have if I had a hammer, but.
Yeah, the late you were pretty late getting to East Death Mountain after Hookshot. I think that's one
Yeah.
thing that made things a little bit more troublesome.
Probably should have just went ahead and dipped that right away, but like I said, I was kind of all over the place tonight.
Yeah, and I also have to apologize for calling ahead of time the Flute and GT.
Did you curse
that-
us?
I did. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, we had a commentator's curse over here. We'll
To
Oh,
be
pretty
fair,
in here.
I've been gone for the last few weeks here, so my psychic power had time to store up. No, I'm kidding. No, we had a few really, is this what's happening right now? Because we saw Idiom pick up the 2 hearts in ice. It was like, what's next? Blue mail on the big. Blue mail is the 3rd item. It's vanilla in the big chest.
of course. I was actually kind of glad to see that because I really wasn't, even with as many parts as I had, I really wasn't wanting to do Fighter Sword Cold Stare on green mail.
There were a lot of runners finishing bosses with 1 heart left before the mail upgrades started showing up.
Yeah, there
You know,
was a lot of squeaking by as far as health goes.
Yeah. Yeah, I know my moss fight was super, super sketchy.
It ain't really that sketchy if you manage to win, right?
Well, yeah.
Any landing you
The
can
end
walk
result
away from?
matters.
Say again?
Oh, I just said any landing you can walk away from.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. All right. With that, is there anything else you folks want to say about the seed before we close out tonight?
No.
No, just thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And thank
Not
you
a problem.
for running.
Glad to have you guys here. And GG's to all involved.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
Yeah.
All right.
GG's, everybody. Thanks.
All right. And as we close out, we want to take a minute to, again, remind you folks, if you have not already, to please go ahead and follow our 4 runners who have put on a great show for you here. And also to shout out our trackers, Professor Pixie and Jinxie Girl, who have done a great job pressing all the buttons, making sure everybody knows who has what, despite the technical hiccup we had midway into the race. And especially given all dungeons, that is quite a full tracker to work with for everybody. So again, props to both of them. And Jeff, thank you for letting me join you up here in the booth tonight.
Not a problem. It was my pleasure having you, Captain. And I hope to hear you again sometime soon. And for everybody here on Speed Gaming Channel, what is it, number 3?
3.
Don't forget, Season League starts this Sunday, so we'll be firing that up. And be sure to take care of yourselves and each other. So from all of us here at Speed Gaming, good night.
Good night, folks.